Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of our van build series. Today we're going to talk about how we built this roof deck
and how we installed this wind fairing. Hey guys, welcome back. It is Friday afternoon. Mark is all done with work. We only have two projects and we are completely done with the roof. One is the wind fairing and the second project is the roof deck. So we don't have much time left before it's dark. So come on, let's get started. We really want to complete this. Yeah.
So we're starting tonight with the roof deck, and we are using a product called Timber Tech. We got this stuff at Home Depot. It comes in a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different widths. We've chosen this, they call it 6, but it's actually 5.5 inches wide, and it's sort of this kind of slate gray, which we really like. This is almost a half a pound lighter per linear foot than Trex is. That's why we wanted to go with it, because when you're in a van, pretty much every pound matters, right? So we also had to do some quick calculations to figure out how to do this, and kind of drew up the ceiling of the van on a quick piece of paper, and we figured that we can get 11 of these across the roof of the van. We're going to put a 3/16 inch space between them so that water can drain out, and that is it. So it'll be 11 boards, obviously a 3/16 inch space between them. We can cut the longer boards to 54 inches. The other ones we're going to cut a little bit shorter, probably 25 inches right around the fan, and we should be good. So we're trying to get this done quickly, so before the sun sets. So the first thing we got to do before we cut this composite board is to change our saw blade. I have this kind of framing saw blade in here, 40 teeth, so that's not going to work well for this composite decking. So we went ahead and bought a specific blade for Trex or composite decking. This one has 72 teeth. The company actually recommends 90, but I couldn't find it. But this one's specifically for Trex, so we know it works with that kind of material. So all saws kind of work the same when you're taking a blade out. You're basically going to have a mechanism that lets you move the shroud, the blade cover out of the way. There's going to be another mechanism that holds the nut in place so you can loosen it and pull the old blade off. And just keep in mind that this nut is reverse threaded. So lefty loosey, righty tighty, forget all that. It's totally reversed here. So I've gone ahead and pulled the old blade off, and I'm going to put the new blade on. When you do that, it's going to tell you the direction of travel. You always want to have the direction of travel toward the front of the saw. So this simply goes onto here. You thread that onto the nut. This washer goes on top of it, and it only fits one way. And then you've got the bolt that will hold the blade in place. And again, this is righty loosey, lefty tighty, so completely different than what you've heard. Okay. Once that's in place, we've got to tighten it, so we've got to somehow stop the blade from turning. There's typically a little button, mine is right here next to it, on the side of the blade that basically stops will stop the blade from spinning, or at least stop this nut from turning. And at that point, we're just going to tighten it in. So once the blade's in place and you've tightened down this nut, the only thing left to do is move the blade cover back to where it's supposed to be. And there will be a screw here that you tighten. Now keep in mind, this is different on different saws. On my rigid, this is how it works. Essentially, they're pretty much mostly the same, but read your manufacturer's instructions to see exactly how you do that. That's nice and tight. You've been unplugged the whole time. Now this thing is ready to go, so let's plug it in and start cutting some of our decking. So we've cut our first, by the way, make sure you're wearing these, don't forget. We've cut our first piece to just under 54 inches. Now we've got to cut 7 more. So it's always a good working trick to set up a stop block so that now I just have to push it up against here and I can make 8 repetitive cuts, and they're all exactly the same length. So we're going to make 8 of these and 3 at 25 inches, and we'll get them up there and we should be able to start screwing them in place.
we've been really at this. It is now maybe 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. We've been at this since 7:30. And Mark has been up there. And yeah, he has gone a couple times to Home Depot to get a couple things. And, you know, we've had to do and redo and take things apart, and it was hot. You know, welcome to Atlanta humidity, and there's no shade. He's got his knee pads out, and you know, sometimes you just want to give up, but we're not gonna do that. Looking good.
Hey.
Say hi.
Hi everyone. So after about 5 hours on this roof in this blazing heat, we couldn't get these pieces centered around. Did you tell them this already? No. We couldn't get this pieces. We actually built the fan on a custom template, so it's supposed to be centered, but it looks like it's just a little bit off like everything else, and it's caused us to have trouble with these boards because when we put them in on center, the fan won't close on one side. So we have to, what we've done is we put 5 boards together with the spacers. They're all clamped together so like it's one big piece, and we're sliding it back and forth to make sure it's centered around the fan and as close to centered around the edge as possible. Then I'm going to drop a line along the channel and start drilling holes, and whew, once these 5 are in, the rest should be easy. I always say that. Like once this is done, the rest is easy. Then we end up in a problem, but
Famous last words?
Famous last words, but I think it's good because my attitude is much better.
Yes.
So.
We're feeling better.
Yes, I'm feeling much better. So once these 5 are in, we'll be back.
So, just don't give up. And I know it seems really hard and really difficult. It's the beauty of being married to an engineer and having a partner in crime to do things like this. So don't give up if you're out there and you're doing your own project. So don't give up. Have faith. Marg is out there working really hard on the roof deck, and I'm in here with the wind fairing from Unaka. I've already taken off the plastic or this paper covering that's protecting. This is acrylic. It can easily scratch, it can easily crack and break. It was protecting the front and the back, so I have removed it. I've got it laying on a towel. It does come with the brackets. It has all the nuts and bolts and the washers with it. I do have a torque wrench. Very important to have it on the right setting. Mark was teaching me how to use it earlier. So it is on, the instruction says have it on a 75-inch pound, because if it's not, you're gonna crack it. I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling this, and the T-nuts that the brackets will be attached to have already been put into the 80/20 that's already in the roof. So those 5 T-nuts are already up on the roof rack. So let's get started and start assembling now. So hopefully tonight it will be all done between the wind fairing and the deck. So let's get started.
I've been up here so long today that I think I'm gonna have to reacclimate to the altitude change when I go back down. Okay, roof deck is almost done. I've got 2 more pieces, so that putting those 5 pieces in together actually worked out pretty good. I was able to space them. They're equally spaced around the roof deck. I think one end's actually gonna hang off the end of the van, probably a 1/4 inch more than the other one. No one will know. But the procedure I'm using for all these is pretty much the same. So I basically put a board in position, and I will put these between everything. So now I know it's evenly spaced all the way down. Now I get the back even because that's what people are going to see. and then I basically, if I can, I use a clamp to hold it in place. This doesn't always work. And the thing is, you don't want to squeeze it, you just want to hold it in place. And I just do that to hold the back even so I can get a couple holes. I've got my template for my 3 holes. I'm actually only putting 1 right now. I'll get to the 3rd and 2nd holes later. I'm drilling with a 7/64 drill bit. I had a 1/8, which would be 8/64, but I lost it somewhere in this mess. So I'm using a 7/64. This is a cobalt bit. It's one of those DeWalt cobalt built bits. Super strong because I broke like 6 bits before I finally bought this one and put it in. So make sure you use a super strong bit to go through the 80/20 or it's just going to break on you. I start with a pilot hole through the decking. Take the space, take the block away, and then basically go through the 80/20 and everything. So you'll pass directly through the middle of the 80/20. Switch to a star bit. These are 2-inch SPAX screws. So I tried a bunch of different screws, by the way. I tried Power Pro, the ones that Lowe's have. They're supposed to drill through anything, and they're supposed to be able to go through metal without a pre-drill. Didn't work. I still would have had to pre-drill a hole, and then it would have been a gold finish in this. So we really didn't want that. I tried to use self-tapping screws. Those actually did drill through the composite and the 80/20 without a pre-drilled hole. The problem was, by the time that they were through the metal, it kind of made a mess of the composite board, kind of made a really sloppy hole. So I didn't think these were going to work, but I went back to these and I've been using these ever since. So that's it. They're nice and strong. They seem to be holding well. And that's it. I'm just going to finish it. I've got 1 more board after this, 8 more screws, and we're going to call it a night.
The last one. Yay! Does this mean we get to install it?
I think we get to install it. There's about half hour of daylight left. I think we can do it.
Yes!
Check it out. Our roof deck is done. So right now there's only 1 screw in each of the boards in 4 different locations. I'm probably going to add another screw, or actually 2 more screws. 2, that kind of thing, but I'm not quite sure. I'm going to see how this holds up first. I've got to buff out or wash out that chalk line, but that is it. Came out really cool.
It looks great.
I think it's time to watch the sunset up here tonight.
Yes.
The sunset being there. All right, so why don't we finish the wind fairing, and then we'll be done for the night. Let's go.
Okay, so this guy is called a satellite radio antenna. This was our obstruction when we installed our wind fairing last night. It is made out of acrylic, so it doesn't really bend. It was sitting right here last night, and when we installed the wind fairing, it was kind of bending a little bit right here. So Mark and I, because we don't really use the satellite radio, we uninstalled it. We filled it in the hole with some lap sealant. We will hold on to this in case we decide to reinstall it, or if we sell it and the owners, the next owners want to use it, we'll have it. But it looks great. The wind fairing is now flush with the van, and we're really happy. So wanted to let you know.
Well, we have had an awesome Sunday. We started with an awesome church service, right?
Yes.
An awesome worship service, and we jumped up here and we spent the rest of the day in the blazing heat on this roof deck.
Yep,
So,
it's done.
And it's done.
High five.
And it looks awesome. So
Yes.
we did have to make a couple modifications to the wind fairing, and we talked about those. You talked about those before.
Yep.
We did end up adding a few more screws to the roof deck, and these are actually the screws that we use. These 2-inch SPAX screws. Like I said, I tried a bunch of different ones. These seem to work well. I did have to pre-drill some holes through the 80-20 and broke a lot of drill bits. How many did I break?
Oh, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
More.
So, and we still have a few to do, so I got to go get another drill bit.
That's okay.
Lois is going to wonder what the heck I'm doing with all these drill bits.
Yeah. Well, but that's a part of it.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
It's all a learning process. Just
Yes.
stay with it and
Yes.
you'll get it done.
Exactly.
So if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already done so to the channel, and please click that little notification bell to find out every time we release a new video.
Also, don't forget to leave us a comment. We love to hear back from you guys. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. But until then, have a good one.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.